on April Fool's Day, I got a message from this woman, and I told her I wanted to make sure this wasn't a joke, and she says it wasn't a joke, and then I found out she was a he, and now I am the fool. Okay, so let me just preface this or start this by saying I have no distaste toward individuals who are transgender traditionally. So, for example, I am not opposed to having some level of acquaintance or otherwise discussion with the person that knowingly is transgender. Now, there is a user who likes to come on my stuff, and he'll try to insult me in the midst of seeing these various topics that are discussed because I'll still go up and approach. This one came on my stuff. Um, to give you a really quick breakdown, because I don't want this to go on for that long, a user started writing me on my email and indicated her romantic interest in me. So we spoke over the phone the following day. The day after that, she revealed she was a transgender. And, I had no interest in being romantically affiliated with this person, and I'm sure you can picture why. But, just having a dialogue, little conversation, whatever, it's not a problem with me. And you will never guess why this imploded. I had a guy that I have some correspondence with, other people I just speak with, call, talk with. Um, After a week and a half, I didn't hear anything from this transgender, so I assumed the correspondence was over, and I just went about my business. Um, so out of nowhere, I get this call from her slash him, and he proceeds to because I put it on the speaker with this guy I'm talking to, and he makes this joke about the fact that he still has male genitals even though he's calling himself a she, about the transgender. So they become offended by this, hang up the phone. I say, hey, what's wrong with you? And it starts insulting me over the phone, saying, you did this or whatever. And then I send them a call. I called them, and they say, you didn't defend me in front of that dude. And I thought to myself, wait a second, your entire beef with me is levied toward what someone else said that was in my presence, that I'm supposedly now supposed to take on this role of turning into the Soviet Union and being able to tell you what you can and can't say. Remember, we're not talking about interacting on, someone left a comment in the comment section. I'm going to remove that. This is just a dialogue where this person happens to overhear what it's saying and then responds back to it verbally through voice. Again, a medium I can't control, but chooses to call me out of my name, insults me, and then just quickly blocks me across social media. So this whole supposed, I guess, decent correspondence ends because someone else said something they didn't like, not me. But again, that's to show you the level of ridiculousness that is associated with with some of these types of people, and it's really sad because I have no. And let me respond to Dominique. No, the voice he slash she used um, tricked me because and facially it did not look any different than what I would consider the average female. And it was kind of this whispery tone like this. But whenever you were on the phone with it long enough, you could hear the voice become more masculine when it responded to those around it. It was rehearsed to the point where when something it couldn't control happened, it would snap back into its upset phase. I guess what I don't understand about this person is that yeah, it was a whole guy had all the parts, but you slapped some stuff on and then all a woman. Um, the part of this I don't understand is that I don't enjoy calling somebody out of what they want to be identified as. It's not ideal, but my issue stems from the fact that this person became upset whenever some comment was made
which rebuked was the truth that they were not biologically a woman. You know, there was an example of them talking about uh, becoming pregnant, and I told them that that can't happen. Became upset, and this guy said one thing about, "Hey, Envoy, I agree with you. Don't get it twisted. I wouldn't either, but I didn't have a problem with just speaking with the person. I just thought it was insane that they would become so upset with me over something someone else said. Again, their reason for reacting ridiculously um, this previous night was because I was on the phone with someone else who was on speaker who heard them talk and responded back to them. So, okay, Envoy says some transgender people get upset when you say the truth. They are not biologically a man if they choose to convey the other. Dirk says they don't want to match the common gender with their sex. Saberwolf says many of them are extremely irrational, demand you to be their white knight in shining armor. Isn't that the truth? Or their knight in shining armor? But yeah, that's CX. I have to give you a some kind of brownie points because that's exactly what that was. Remember, this entire 2 week correspondence ended in 9 minutes because of what someone else said over voice or by a call. You didn't. Oh, and by the way, to just so I can kind of make this clear, because a lot of times people will think that when someone's a member of the LGBT community, they're more likely to be, I guess, have accepting type views or views that are mainstream. You know, adherent to liking other races and groups of people in a platonic way. um, this transgender who was African American actually made a couple of racist comments in the course of our interactions. The person I was on the phone with, they assumed was Caucasian, and actually when I called them back the second time, said you didn't defend me in front of that white boy. So that alone should tell you that when people are members of these groups that we have a lot of activists trying to go and protect, there are some of them that don't fit the same mold of you know I want to be accepted, so let me accept other people. Qualm says you always go. Yeah, apparently so. I feel just very vindicated because I didn't approach them and I had no way of knowing what that person was until they revealed it. And even after that, I didn't, even in not wanting to date someone like that, I still, didn't mind speaking to them. But I do think it's absolutely ridiculous that their whole reason for having a problem with me is because of what someone else said. No, no, you meet on no, no, not on the dating website. They came on my on YouTube, left comments on my stuff, and then tried to re- reveal themselves afterward. So let's keep that clarification going. I did not approach him slash her at all. I was just sitting here in my own little bubble, my own dojo, minding my business, just putting out content, and all of a sudden, uh, gets messaged. And I go, okay, have a little dialogue, whatever. And then you find out the truth. You go, well, that's not exactly desirable, but we could just have a conversation. And then Dominique says these transformers are odd. Uh, yeah, Envoy. It really was. It was my own dojo, my own fortress. I was sitting here putting out my own content. They start commenting on it. They asked me for my other social media handles, and they're operating on some fake female name. Then all of a sudden, you find out a couple of days later that it was with Notorious B.I.G. said it was all a dream. Uh, yeah, O'Donohue. They are. This person was definitely the Decepticon. CX says, at least you found out before it was too late. Well, now I'm kind of unnerved by the whole experience because, I just generally assume someone is what they say they are. Um, and even, I get people get catfished or whatever, but it's the fact that you have these individuals who will hide behind a computer screen and they'll say, oh, I'm female. And then you go on the phone with them. Yeah, I'm really, I'm actually a woman, but I technically don't have the parts, but I still count as. It was and then you see them in person, and they throw all this stuff on their face and just everywhere to make you think, or believe in the myth. And I wouldn't have known if they hadn't have said it. So much so the other people around me who heard their voice thought the same thing. Um, Envoy says if you said this in mainstream media, some snowflakes have a problem. LOL. Society is so sensitive. I mean, I'm just going off the fact that they're not, that they don't have the parts of what they're trying to be. And I look, none of this would be happening, where I wouldn't be talking about any of this, nor would I have a problem with any of this if this person hadn't have come to me. So remember what Eddie Murphy's dad used to say: "You get what you gave." Come over here, and then you can't even have a conversation. You want to block the person everywhere, and make it to where they can't say anything back to you. I don't know why they would go after me. This person came to me. And then MLG Gaming says, "What up?" Say hello back. Okay. I think I missed someone's comment in here. Tamari said, "Hey." I'll say hello back to him. I didn't see that. They would they would call him. They don't like because you aren't using correct pronouns. Well, I get kind of tiring if I just keep saying the transgender, the transgender, the transgender, the transgender just over and over. Um, and then Envoy says they would call me transphobic. I'm not transphobic. I have no problem with people that are that. Think about this. If I were, let's say, um, I don't know, a Caucasian woman, and I said, you know what, I do not want to date any men that are not Caucasians as well. No one would call her racist. No one would say that how dare she not want to, feel the wonders of these other ethnic groups. It's called a preference. We have preferences. Yeah, I agree with you on that movie. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. But I don't see what's wrong with having preferences. If I am open to how did this become what? It's funny how they turned on you like that, even though you were cordial with them. That's probably way better than what they received during their daily lives. Yeah, remember Dominique? I didn't say anything to them at least bad enough to where they just wanted to have no correspondence with me. It was all relating to what someone else did. Uh, what I'm saying is other people for not dating them. Yeah, well, again, we have our preferences. I guarantee you, if you asked most men, "Hey, do you want to date a woman?" They go, "Yeah." "Oh, do you want to date one that has all male parts, but slaps on a wig and some makeup and says it's a woman?" I guarantee you, a majority of them would say no. And you didn't reveal their names, they have no problem just saying, "I'd rather not." I think racial preferences are a tricky one. Uh, O'Donohue says the social justice warrior claim that racial preferences in dating is racist now. Well, I know MLG Gaming would say no. That was the point of me saying that. In reference to what O'Donohue was saying, I'm very much aware that at this point you can't really have any preference of any kind, and I think there's a difference between wanting to just casually associate with groups of people versus having them all up on you like that. Okay. What else is here? Yeah, I agree with Richter, if that's I'm saying your name correctly. Too sensitive. I just thought that was insane. And look, for as friendly man is, I can guarantee you that he wouldn't have. He would say no to that too. Okay, Saberwolf says, "I heard that transgenders have a higher rate of suicide, and they blame it on society." The same guy I was talking to actually spoke of it as something that shouldn't, like when they say LGBT, it should just be LGB, because that's not just a preference in who you'd like to date or be around. It's an actual ripping up of yourself or changing parts of who you are and the high rate of there were facts behind what he was saying, and I don't think he has a problem with people who are that just like he'll criticize religion, but I don't think he has a problem with someone having those types of views. It's just when you impose on that person, they get uncomfortable with it. Just like how I have no problem with you know talking to someone transgender. I would have a problem talking with this person when it was just a platonic manner. But as far as I'm gonna go and date and get in bed with it, no, and I don't think that's ridiculous. You associate with people. I'll associate with anyone of any ethnic background or sexual background. But when you try to invade my personal space, you can take a hike. Okay. O'Donohue, yes, actually wanted to. I that was and again I was completely taken aback when what they were was revealed to me. I did a 360 turn saying, oh, I guess I'm kind of susceptible to this. And they said, by the way, I am a. And no, no, thank you. Bye. MLG Gaming says exactly that's how I feel. I won't let them come up on me. Yeah, we're in the same category. Did they use the Xer and XIM pronouns? I don't know what that means. Or remember the video from yesterday about the Syria airstrike? I'm not too smart. I don't know these terms. But they actually did approach me on April Fool's Day, and I actually made that joke to them and to other people that prior to finding out what they were, that there was going to be some kind of gag, or I'd be made to be some kind of goof for having associated or bothered with them, and it turned out to be that way, just not in the way I expected. Hey VVS, did you see the beginning of the stream where I made the 10 or 20 second thing of me speaking? Okay, MOG says, why do they try to show their transgender all the time? No, I'd rather they show it than try to hide it. Look, if a person is transgender and they're just walking down the street, they're trying to get applied to some job that is the equivalent of maybe retail or whatever, then fine, I don't need to know about it. But if you are trying to do something sexual with a person, they need to find out about this as soon as possible, especially if you're serious about them. Because I wouldn't have wasted my time responding to a single comment that person had left um, that was romantic anyway if I knew what they were. And, if this person had said, oh, I just want to speak with you about current events, fine, whatever. But, you look so good, and I just want to talk to you and get to know you, and out of here. It is too much these days. I agree with that, friendly man. I've had my fill. Yeah, Dirk. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. No, I was mostly creeped out after, and I forgot to mention this. It was about so again we met on the first, and I think the fourth. Well, CX. That's how this person sounded. Um, on the fourth or the fifth, they sent me a message talking about, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is gonna work out. And I spoke to them by phone. I said, what's wrong with you? Well, you're not messaging me the way you used to do. I just met you 5 days ago. What are you talking about? So that showed you their level of creepiness, ridiculousness, just bizarre behavior. Okay, Jager says, yeah, I don't blame you, dude. This social norm is trash these days. There is a problem when you try to impose. So, for example, if a woman didn't want to date someone who is my ethnicity, I couldn't hide that. That would be something they find, at least if they see me in person, that would be something they find out automatically. But a lot of these transgenders, they've been able to get away with pretending to be the other gender, which again, in the circumstance of dating and going out and talking to males and having guys try to talk to them, I think is creepy because I think when you go up and speak to a person, and or rather, when they go up, it's one thing if the person approaches. If why do men want to? Yeah, okay. So it's one thing if the guy goes to the woman and says, "I want to do this," or the person they think is a woman because they're coming to them. This person came to me, and I, used in just being used to speaking to non-transgenders on both sides, took it for their word that they were a woman, and so spoke to them for a couple of days, only for them to reveal that, nope, I actually am not that, and then got repulsed. Okay, B5 says that's when they get all. Well, I don't know about looking like clowns. They surely had me tricked. MLG Gaming says kind of creepy when some they want to be in love. Look, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have affection toward you, but yeah, transparency. That person in their first post should have said, "I am that," and it took them a couple of days to determine whether or not they were going to reveal what they were, and that's problematic for this. Yeah, I like how the fecal is getting what we're saying here. Are the words getting intermixed in those? So yeah, Dirk has his hand on the pulse. Whenever you go out and you approach someone romantically, and you're not what you appear to be, at least biologically, I think you should tell them what you are as soon as possible. And remember, it's even worse for, in my opinion, for guys than it is for women because if a woman gets some guy to come up to her and he turns out to have a vagina, and she gets momentarily interested in just going on a date with that person, she'll likely be upset, but she can just go and find some other guy. In the current climate of guys being as depraved of female attention and having what appears to be a female come up to them and you find out it's not, it's this big slap in the face. And I kind of tried to salvage it by saying, okay, well maybe there's someone I can just speak with casually, and that's something I did for a number of days until they lost their mind over something that someone else said that they thought I should have the power to control, and they revealed their racial distaste um, toward Caucasians. But again, this is the same group that, when you go and look at many of the activists who will back it up, are mostly Caucasians. I mean, this whole story is just bizarre. It's strange. Do yourself a favor. Next time you get a call from someone, I don't care if that person is is the businessman or the milkman or whatever they're saying they are, and they sound like this. Hang it up. Don't, do not. Just the second I heard that voice, and hey, I agree with Saberwolf. I always get the crazy ones. I will attest to that. CX is gonna mocking my current state of affairs. He's gonna go home tomorrow and get a call. He's gonna go, "Hello," and then, "I see you're not answering my calls. I guess you don't want to talk to me." And he's gonna say, "That's correct," and then just end the call. No, no, Richter, I didn't cut it loose. I told them I want nothing to do with you romantically, and then at that point, they called me a couple of days ago. Okay, wicked gesture. Let's keep clarifying. And I agree with Envoy about the anime villain. Let's clarify again. I spoke to this person for 2 weeks, or rather for a week and a half. A couple of days went by, they didn't say anything to me. I figured it was over. I'm on the phone with this guy. They call me and I put it on speaker, and the guy makes some little joke about them being transgender. They hang up. I call them back. They say, "You didn't defend me in front of that white boy," and then hangs up. Um, and calls me an a-hole and blocks me across the internet. Why did you talk to Xer that long? Hey, I have no problem. Look, I'm gonna tell you, this is my policy. if I think a person is wanting to know something that is, in my opinion, worth or a value, I don't care what gender or religion or various background they come from. So, for example, I was creeped out by the romantic inquiry after I clarified that that would not happen, and they were asking me about current events and things going on in the news. I had no problem discussing those things. It's as simple as that. Now, it's all right, wicked gesture. People are just popping in and popping out. Okay. Ultimate hit ask. I just got here. What's going on? People need to respect the preferences one got. Yeah, that statement has a new sense of resilience at this point. I'm gonna say hello to. I'm just gonna call that person I love. I don't. That name is too long. Swear I am astonished. Yeah, I was bamboozled, and I have a very and actually no, I don't feel that bad either because, as I mentioned earlier, all the people that heard that voice thought it was a woman. Everybody was tricked. Wicked Gesture says, I had a similar incident, but the girl was actually a girl. And then CX Saberwolf says, you said they messaged you on YouTube first, right? That is correct. Again, I want it to be clarified. This was not the result of me just randomly, going down the street, putting my glasses on, adjusting them, and knocking on doors and going, "Hello, I'd like to speak with you." No, no, no. I put out some video, and then all of a sudden they start commenting on it. They ask me for my information. We speak by email. I get their number, and they reveal themselves a couple of days later. So again, I this specimen came to me. Let's set the record straight. Sophia Guyant. If that's okay. Oh, I would have ran away. Hey, MLG, I did almost. I just kind of settled on. They seem to respect the idea you came to it. Okay, I don't know what that means. They seem to respect the idea that yes, this is not going to go anything above just an informal correspondence. Dirk says straight drop the phone. All right, I appreciate the origin story about this person you went to school with. I'm questioning how this is relevant to my scenario or predicament, but whatever. People come in here and talk about all kind of things. Somebody earlier mentioned the Han Solo movie. Another person was talking about this thing right here. Just whatever. Sometimes I don't get. The only thing I'm worried about is having my views misconstrued because, like I said, I have no problem associating. Yeah, CX Saberwolf, you and I are both kind of having arriving at that same opinion. I have no problem. Um, and to answer Dirk's question, yes, that is the first time ever. That was a brand new, disturbing experience, and I really hope to not live to see it again. Um, I just want my view. Yeah, me too, MLG. I just want my views to not be misconstrued. I have no problem with transgenders as they exist or as they go about living in the same neck of the woods or just doing what they have to do. But I prefer to not be romantically involved with any of them. I've noticed the same thing, O'Donohue. We've been getting a little bit more traffic, but I really don't want there to have to be this perception I'm anti the LGBT community. I'm not anti it in the sense that I think they should have equal rights. I just don't want that association uh, with members of that group, that the romantic thing. I'd rather not. No, thank you. Ultimate Hit says you prefer the real thing. Now, see, all those little terms, they would get so offended by them, and we're just speaking in general. Um, And they'd be upset with me for not blocking and deleting everyone who has a view that's not entirely conducive to theirs. I swear, people are so sensitive over just everything. O'Donohue says, I remember when it was only Envoy, VVS, and me. Yeah, well, I have a feeling it'll go back to that in a couple of days. People kind of have this thing where they show up uh, around for a couple of days and then disappear. Yeah, I appreciate that, Richter. So I'm gonna get off. Um, Again, watch the beginning of the stream if you didn't see it, and thank you for participating. They'd be like, "Oh no, yeah." Is O'Donohue says, "Yeah, dating a transgender is like eating a McDonald's burger instead of a real burger." Yeah, I'm glad I dodged those attacks, friendly man. And Jester, they could not take the hint. I mean, it was as if she could not, he whatever could not conceive uh a world where there was a person that just didn't want them, that was not interested in going after and pursuing people, that are that way, in that manner. Again, um, Dirk says gonna have to see the first second time. Yeah, just that's the short version for someone who doesn't want to see me talk about this for half an hour. So thank you, I appreciate it. I'll have something else up tomorrow. Peace.